Hey, what's up guys, Alex here. Thank you for checking this video and welcome to a new tutorial about DevOps and WordPress. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to quickly set up a continuous deployment workflow to our WordPress website. Specifically, we're going to connect our remote Git repository to a BuddyWorks pipeline, which automatically triggers the deployment to our remote server. Before starting, I have to give a big shout out to the awesome people at SkySilk for sponsoring this video. They've been immensely helpful and supportive since the early days of my channel, and their services are incredibly good and perfectly tailored for all my needs. But let's not further delay our awesome tutorial and let's jump right into it. And of course, for this tutorial, I'm gonna actually use SkySilk to set up a WordPress on the cloud, because I wanna show you how quick and easy it is to have a fully functional WordPress website on your remote server at a very low cost. So if you never use SkySilk, I strongly suggest you to give it a try and use the link in the description below to get extra discount on your first trial. But let's continue. I'm gonna access my account. I'm gonna click on create a VPS in my dashboard, and automatically I'm gonna get all the options to create my VPS. The pricing are currently at 0 for me because I have a discount because of the sponsor video, but the basic is at $2 and the standard is at $5 a month. I'll suggest you get the standard because you get a lot of options and a lot of settings and features for the price, which is $5 a month. So I'm gonna choose this plan, and right away the dashboard allows me to choose a pre-built template that will be installed in our newly generated VPS. Of course, we're building a WordPress website, so let's click WordPress. I'm gonna have to choose the Intel Xeon Core is the only options, and I'm gonna stick with the LA data center because it's the closest to me. And of course, in the standard option, you have different tiers depending on how much power you need. For now, one virtual CPU with 2 GB of RAM and 30 GB of SSD storage, it's perfect for me. So I'm gonna pick this one, and in the setup, I'm gonna specify a VPS name. In my case, it's gonna be SkySilk WordPress, something very easily recognizable. I'm gonna stick with the password login allowed for easy of use, and I'm gonna use a predefined password. Perfect. And then I'm gonna use add my SSH key in order to be able to dynamically log in to my newly created VPS via SSH. Description is not necessary. I'm not gonna set up any of these, and here I have a quick recap. I'm gonna click go. Oh, I did a mistake. The name must not contain spaces or special number. Okay, so let's do WordPress CD, which is continuous deployment, which is related to this tutorial. So clicking go. This process is gonna take literally just 2 minutes, and I'm not gonna skip anything. I'm not gonna speed up the video because I want to show you how easy and fast it takes. So while this happens, I want to talk to you a little bit more about SkySilk, which is an awesome cloud service provider that offers custom tailored VPS for all your needs with pre-built templates, starting at $2 per month. And there you go. As you can see, it took probably around 15 to 20 seconds to set up a fully functional WordPress website. We have our own custom IP, which can copy paste into a browser, and we can trigger the installation process. So let's do it super quickly, and let's install WordPress. Let's use SkySilk WordPress as a title, username. Let's do an admin and just a password because I want to remember it as 123. I don't care. This is just a test, and I'm gonna use fake email, something like that, and discourage search engine because I just want to keep it for myself. So install WordPress and let's log in. Admin as 123, login. There you go. We are inside our freshly installed WordPress from SkySilk, and you can see here we have the 2019 version of WordPress. SkySilk automatically installed version 5.3 if I'm not wrong, but you can of course do all the updates that you want. So yeah, let's update the plugins, and then let's update the final version of WordPress. Perfect. So you notice how stupidly fast everything is. Even if I pick from the SkySilk dashboard a nano version, which has just one virtual CPU and 2 gigs of RAM, This was like clicking around, updating. It's all on our remote server. It's not local. And it looks like it's going as fast as a local installation, which is fantastic. But now let's continue our tutorial by taking a look on how to automatically set up a continuous deployment integration with BuddyWorks. So right now we're using a 2019 theme, the default theme of WordPress. We can switch to the 2020 because it's the latest and greatest, and it's better integrated with Gutenberg and all the other things, but it doesn't really matter. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna download this 2020 theme locally on my computer and upload it on a remote Git repository. I'm gonna use GitLab to host my remote Git repository, and I wanna simply connect BuddyWorks in order to trigger an upload to my SkySilk VPS every time I change something in my code. So let's do it. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna open FileZilla because it's the FTP client that I like to use, but you can use whatever FTP client. I'm gonna connect to my newly created SkySilk WordPress website. So I'm gonna call this connection SkySilk-WP, and I'm gonna have an SSH transfer protocol. The host, I can simply copy the unique IP address, which is the host of my SkySilk installation. The username is root because I didn't specify any username, and actually all these information you can directly check them in the SkySilk dashboard. So if we click on SSH console, automatically a new window will open and will ask us to log into our newly created VPS by using the password that we specified, or if we didn't specify any password and we did it through private key, we can log it through private key. But here I specified my password, so I'm gonna type it and be sure I don't mistype it. And after I'm logged in, this is basically I'm connected through SSH on a terminal, on a virtual terminal here, which SkySilk offers out of the bat, which is fantastic. And you can see that we're logged at root at WordPress CD, which is the name of the VPS that I specified, but the IP address is the one that I put in here, and then the username that we need to use is root because this is the user that currently is available in our installation. So let's do it. Let's write user root, and then let's type our password in here, and let's click connect. Always trust this host. Okay. And I'm connected. Perfect. I can go back up and I can find my WordPress installation. So usually WordPress is installed. var, open this folder, all the way here, www, open here, WordPress, and this is our WordPress installation. This is a standard Apache server configuration. If you're very confused about this, I strongly suggest you to check the beginner DevOps tutorial series that I did on my channel, where I basically explain how to set up all these manually. But luckily for us, SkySilk does these all automatically out of the box. So what we have to do basically here, we're gonna access the WP content, the themes folder, and inside the theme folder, we're gonna have our 2020, which is the current theme that I'm using, and I'm gonna actually download it inside my sites folder. Here I created a folder called sites, and inside here I have a new folder that I called SkySilk WP. Let me extend this. I'm gonna basically download the entire content. So I'm gonna select them all and I'm gonna download it inside my current directory. While doing all these operations, you could think of maybe you're going over your SkySilk quota, your VPS quota, but by the way, it's already done. It's so fast, it's incredible. But one thing amazing about the SkySilk dashboard is that you can control all the traffic and transfer and CPU load and usage that we're currently doing. So you can see here we had a pretty high spiked out network transfer because I was downloading the entire website, but it's very low, and you can see we have the full graph, so you can keep track of everything that is happening in your VPS account, which is super handy. But let's continue. Now I have my entire 2020 folder here. So what I want to do now, I'm gonna disconnect here and close it. What I want to do, I created in my GitLab account a Git repository called SkySilk WordPress. I'm gonna hook this Git repository to my local folder. So if I open my sites folder and I have my SkySilk WP here, we have all the files that are part of the 2020 WordPress theme that we're currently using. I'm gonna hook this folder to my GitLab repository. So let's do it. Let's open our terminal. Let's navigate to our folder, which is SkySilk site, SkySilk WP. And here we're gonna basically follow the instruction that we have on the GitLab repository. So we already have an existing folder with all our information, with all our files and folders. So we are gonna init a new Git repository. And also in this case, if you don't know what I'm doing, if you don't know anything about Git, I suggest you to follow my introduction to Git video tutorial series, where I explain you how to create a Git repository, how it works, and all the good stuff about Git. So yeah, you're covered also on that front. But let's continue. Now I initialize a freshly new Git repository, but it's not connected to my remote GitLab repository. So I need to add a remote by copying what GitLab offer here. So git remote add with the proper URL. That's perfect. Now I can do git add. Let's create a commit, something like initial commit, something that's pretty simple, and we have everything. And then we're gonna use the git push the origin to master. Perfect. After our little push, we can refresh our Git repository on GitLab, and now we have all the files and folders and everything for the 2020 WordPress theme connected to our Git repository. Nice. So here's the scenario. I have my WordPress website with my theme that works and it's perfect and I love it. But now I want to change something. For example, I want this background color to be completely white, or I want to remove the background color. I want to just do some edit. The usual workflow that a regular developer might do is to open the folder with our theme locally, open the folder in the preferred code editor. I'm currently using Elementary Code because it's pretty easy, standard, and handy. Then opening the header, changing something in the header, whatever, saving the file, then opening again the FTP client, in my case FileZilla, connect again to the server, and then manually drag and dropping the updated file to manually upload what we have there. This is fine, it's sort of a common process, but it's not really convenient because first, you cannot keep track of all the files that you edit. You have a Git repository that already does that, and since this is a Git repository, if I change something and I save it, the Git repository knows what I changed. So if I change the print.css file, whatever, I just do some small edits, and then I open back my terminal and I do git status, I know which files have been changed. And this is pretty convenient, pretty handy, because in this way I perfectly know what needs to be updated. If I have to manually grab this file and update them, I probably might miss some file, and also it's very taxing. Remember, every time I push something, every time I update something, I have to manually upload those files to my repository. I have to manually upload those files to my server in order to refresh it. It's not very convenient. So let's take a look on how to do it in a more automated way by setting up a continuous deployment integration through BuddyWorks. BuddyWorks is another awesome service that I really love to use, but it doesn't sponsor this video. It's just one of the many convenient way to upload it. Some users like Netlify, some others you can use the built-in GitHub Actions. I'm used to use BuddyWorks. It works for me, but you can use pretty much whatever service you want, the one that makes you more comfortable. So let's start by creating a new project. And because I set up my account and I connected my account with the integration to GitLab, already it knows all my repositories on GitLab, and on GitLab I'm gonna select the SkySilk WordPress repository. Perfect. Automatically it's gonna synchronize everything, and it's gonna ask me, do you want to automate your PHP application? Because it recognizes that the majority of the files on my repository are PHP files, and there's a little bit of package.json, so there's npm in. So we're gonna add a new pipeline here, and we're gonna call this SkySilk CD for continuous deployment. And I'm gonna set the trigger mode on push. It means that every time I push code on my Git repository, automatically this pipeline will be triggered and all the new files will be uploaded. We're gonna trigger this mode on push only on the master branch. We don't want to trigger it on a dev branch or other secondary branch. We can specify extra functionalities if we wanna cherry pick more what we wanna do. The only thing that I wanna check is to not send commit status to GitLab. So we're gonna prevent these back and forth between BuddyWorks and GitLab to not create commit statuses and other stuff like that. But everything else, it's pretty standard. So after we set up the default information of our new pipeline, it's time to actually set it up from scratch. So add a new pipeline. Perfect. The only thing that we really need to do here, because this is standard WordPress, so we have PHP, CSS files, everything is very easy and simple to do. We can simply do an SFTP upload, because that's what basically we did with FileZilla. We set up an SFTP account, we downloaded it, now we want to do an upload. So it already suggests that we have some SSH and Node.js in it, but the only thing that we really want to do is just an SFTP. Perfect. We can leave the source because we want to upload our unprocessed source files, but if you have something more complicated, we can do some extra thing with the pipeline file system, for example, cloning and then compiling, running Composer, running npm, all this kind of good stuff. But for now, it's just a very simple repo. So let's use the GitLab entire repository. The source path is the default source path, so we want to upload everything, but you can browse it and you can scroll through if you want to just do specific pipelines for specific files. Then we have to specify all our information of our SkySilk installation. So once again, let's open the console here, the dashboard. Let's copy our IP address, then the port by default is 22. The login is root. And then we're going to do an authentication method as password. We could also do through BuddyWorks SSH, but that's a step more complicated. We can do it through our password that we defined before on creation. And then we need to, and this is very important, we need to specify our remote path. The remote path is where we went to download our 2020 theme. If we don't specify the remote path, this will be uploaded on root directory and it won't work. We can click browse and BuddyWorks will try to connect to our remote server, and it looks like it did it, but we need to go up, which we cannot do from the UI. So we need to manually write our directory, which in our case is var/wordpress/wp-content/themes/2020, if I'm not wrong. And of course, if you don't remember this directory, you can just use your FTP client and check where you downloaded your folder here for this is 2020, and you can copy this entire URL just in case you don't want to have typos or you don't want to do anything wrong. But just to confirm that this is good, we can do a browse and automatically BuddyWorks should be able to connect with our SkySilk VPS and list all the files and folders that are there. So this is perfect. We can do a test action to check if this action that we just created is able to connect to our host, access the directory, and upload a file just to see if our permission allow us. And in this case, the action has been tested successfully. So this is great. There are other options here, like we can ignore some paths if we have some hidden files, we can extend our action and stuff like that. But for now, this is perfect. So we can add this action. And of course, BuddyWorks gives us, you can execute an SSH action on the system if you want. You can reset the permission or force the refresh or whatever you want to do. But for now, we're just going to leave it like that. Turn suggestion off entirely, we don't care. And this is great. Now we have our newly created pipeline. And of course, here, there's no commit, no execution is done. But now let's do a test and see if our pipeline actually works. So let's say, for example, I want to do just a tiny edit just to see if it works. I want to update the site description and I want to change the font size to something massively big, something that is pretty obvious to see. So I know that in the style.css, we have a site description with a font size of 1.8 relative emphasis. So I'm going to look for that in my code editor, my style.css. I'm gonna look for site description. Here we have a font size 1.8 rem. Perfect. Let's change to 4 relative emphasis. Perfect. So now I updated this file. I saved it. My Git repository recognizes that I have some uncommit changes. So let's open the terminal and let's do a git status. Perfect. So let's do a git add and with a commit message, increase description font size, something very standard. Now, look what happened. Git push. I'm going to push to my Git repository. I'm going to access my pipeline. Look what we have here in progress already. And if we go into the list of pipelines, something is happening. We have a action in progress that already finished. So if we open the SkySilk cloud, the SkySilk CD pipeline, we have a list of execution which remembers and recognizes our commit message, tells us how much time it passed to upload everything and what was uploaded. So I prepared the environment, uploaded the file, was a trigger and push, took 10 seconds to do it, and we can check the log and we can see that all these files were uploaded. And this is the first time that happens because nothing is cached. Basically, it's the first time that we're uploading our entire repository, so our entire theme was uploaded. Now, if everything went correctly, if we refresh this page, look what we have here. Our description here has a massive blowout font size of 4 rem. If we do exactly the same, for example, we reopen style.scss and we do once again site description and we revert back to, for example, 1.8, what it was before, we save it, perfect. We close this because we don't need it anymore. We do once again git status, git add, a little commit to say something fix wrong font size, something like that, and then we push. Once again, we go back to our pipelines. The pipeline gets triggered, already done. SkySilk, it took 1 second because this time, if we check the logs, it uploaded only the style.css. So it recognized automatically the differences between the remote repository, like the remote files in our SkySilk VPS server, and what was different in our Git repository, and pushed only the file that was different. So it doesn't matter how many changes you do, how many files you update, automatically BuddyWorks will recognize which changed and will push automatically on our remote server. So if we refresh again, now the font size went back to normal. This is fantastic. So once again, a big thank you and a big shout out to SkySilk for sponsoring this video. I strongly suggest you to check it out. They have amazing products, amazing templates, everything ready to go. And as you saw from this video, setting up a server with your template or just a simple Apache installation is just a matter of few seconds. They also offer amazing support 24/7, so you will never be stranded not knowing what to do with your cloud VPS. And they have an ever-growing Discord community that you can join automatically for free, and it's full of amazing people. Right now, it's pretty late in the day and they have 107 online people with more than 1,000 members. So you're not gonna be alone in there. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if you wanna expand more on this topic, if you wanna know more about the continuous integration, continuous deployment. Maybe we can do something more complicated in the future. Maybe we could integrate some composer update or some npm packaging done behind the curtains before uploading everything on our remote server. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, and until the next one, as usual, happy coding!